Meeting to order, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moving on to roll call.
Heritage Commission Chairperson Casey Benner.
Here.
Heritage Commission Vice Chairperson Tom Hooper.
Here.
Heritage Commissioner Whitney Houston emailed. Heritage Commissioner Mark Buckeye.
Here.
Automatic Board Liaison Patrick Fahey. We have a quorum.
Okay, moving on to the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. A second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to the approval of minutes from our last meeting of April 20th of 2026.
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
A second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to the introduction of evidence.
I would like to request that the commission enter into evidence for record the St. Genevieve Municipal Code, the design guidelines for St. Genevieve National Register Historic District, and all of the associated documents with each case presented this evening.
Make a motion to approve the evidence.
A second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the evidence. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to old business.
Just an update on our mobile app walking tour grant. The comment period remains open, and it's open till the end of July. Or no, 1st of July. Yes. 1st of July. It's open till the 1st of July. We haven't received any additional comments that I'm aware of. So we'll keep going on that, and if we get any additional comments, we'll of course bring them to you guys and to those people as well. But that's continuing to go great. They're moving forward with putting everything together. On the 2026 grant update, which is the GIS Historic Data Layer update, we are currently putting together our response with the alterations and sending those back to the state, and that will be done this week. So that's kind of where we stand on that grant. Then they'll take it and review it, and give us the grant, and we can move on from there and update that data layer. And that's all I have on their own business. Thank you.
Moving on to new business. We will start with SGHC 017-26, Certificate of Appropriateness for replacement of the wooden windows with vinyl windows at 299 North 4th Street.
And first of all, I'm sorry about the order on this somehow. I don't know how what I normally have is the first page, which is kind of my report, to just kind of give you an overall synopsis of it. Ended up at the back of that section. But when you get to that, it gives you an overall synopsis of the structure itself, kind of how it sits currently. I've got a couple photos there. It is listed and considered a contributing structure to the National Register Historic District according to documentation I have. It's received a previous certificate of appropriateness to replace what was asbestos cement siding with vinyl siding in 2011. And like I said before you tonight is the replacement of the current windows with vinyl windows, and there's also the trim that goes along with that, and the front door. The front door we replaced with a fiber cement board in lieu of the wood, but will match the more appropriate style of door rather than the door that they currently have there, which you can't, I mean, it's kind of hard to see in that photo.
Yeah,
but
it's real modern.
yeah, it's more of a modern door, so they're going to go back with a more traditional door for that era of house. I don't see the owner's representative here tonight, but They were gonna be here, they said they were gonna be here, but they're not present. But that's the current request in front of the commission.
Okay, well, they're not here. I make a motion to table it till they wish to come. I mean, the reason I say that mainly because there's a lot of stuff there with that one house.
There's gonna be a lot of
Yeah.
notifications. I second that, I think.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to table this certificate of appropriateness for consideration until the homeowner representatives can be available. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, moving on to SGHC 019-26, Certificate of Appropriateness for the installation of a 32-inch by 40-inch historical home identification sign to be temporarily installed on a post until the approved fence is installed to provide a permanent mounting location at 167 South Gabory Street. Would you come up to the podium, please?
How you doing, Jeff?
Good evening. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Where would you like me to start?
Do we have any questions?
I do. Jeff, all right, so you're saying this is going to be a temporary sign?
This is okay, you're familiar with the other sites on our campus like Bolduc and Lemaire, Linden. They all have this same style of sign that is of a similar size and configuration as National Park Service, except distinctive, because we don't want people to think, we already have enough of that problem, that we're not the Park Service.
Right.
So it would be consistent with existing signage identifying our historical houses. And it is temporary in that, you know, we recently had the approval for fencing being added around the property. At this point, we could only afford to get that east side done, which we very much appreciated approval for that because it completely makes that a remarkable space for programming and understanding what the environment was like there earlier. But eventually, we do want to have fencing going around in front of it. There was fencing in front of it. The one photograph, which unfortunately I didn't have a copy of to share with you, but it did end up in the exhibit because Bill Nager owns it, that shows the bottling works that was next door on that empty lot. And in the back, you can see the house, and there is a little picket fence. And so there was fencing there, and my inclination, frankly, would be to see about recreating the fence that was like is in that photograph from probably about 1940. Mm-hmm. And that's what the sign would ultimately end up being mounted on. But for right now, we're having the ribbon cutting for guests and donors this Saturday. And then on the following weekend is the big 250th event when we are going to be opening the house. The exhibits are now done. Yay. Inside, and I'm really pleased with how they turned out, but it's going to be opening up to the public on the 30th during the 250th events, anniversary of American independence that we're involved with. And on Sunday, they are going to be having in the backyard the actual commemorative ceremony that the Battle of St. Louis Commemorative Committee usually puts together. which we used to have at the church. The church won't let us do it there anymore. Last year we did it at Ciro's. But it was appropriate, we felt it was appropriate to do it at Francois because as a young officer in the St. John Militia, he was actually at the battle in 1780. But it would be really nice to be able to have a sign identifying the house and making it clear it's part of our museum campus. And as I said, until we get the fence completed, where we would mount it like we do with the other signs that we have, they're all mounted to fences. This would be a temporary expedient. It's not, and I know it's not ideal, but it would be very helpful and not inconsistent with what is on the other sites.
Will the original, the ultimate sign that's going to be there permanently, is it going to be the same size as this, or will it be smaller?
Oh yeah, it'll be the same sign.
Same size?
I'm not paying for another one.
No. Gotcha.
Yeah, it will be that exact sign.
Okay. And I was looking where you're wanting to put it, was up from the front of the house, right?
Okay, well, where it would be, do you all remember when there was a great big pine tree next to it? The pine tree was damaging the house and created a number of other animal problems and things like that. So it had to come down, but it would be roughly in front of where that pine tree was. And so slightly to the east of the front edge of the house. So it would not be impacting your actual view of what the house looks like.
Right.
Which is interesting in and of itself, that it's a dandy little, proper term, folk Victorian, 1890s, 19-teens style, that does extend into the 20th century, which is probably when a lot of the changes were made. And we want people to see that and appreciate it, even though it's not. Yeah, people look and say, well, why are you doing that? It doesn't look like a 1790s vertical timber house. Well, that's
Upstairs.
Yeah, that's because half of what was there was torn down and is underneath that 40s bungalow next door, but enough of the archaeology was able to be done to identify it. And I'm really pleased to say, by the way, that you guys know Jesse Francis, the historian and restoration specialist who did things like Bequette Rabot, worked on Green Tree and some others. Has done some books, and Jesse has now come on board with that was Francois Vallée II's house, and it's going to go into the new edition of his book. But we want people to be able to see it and appreciate it, so that's why the sign will not be directly in front of it. It'll be over here, but clearly associated with the property.
Right. So I don't have a problem. One thing I'll ask, would you consider moving the sign, being as big as it is, would you mind moving it back to where it'd be flush with the front of the house, like on the side yard where the you took that chain link fence out, didn't you? It was on the east side of the house. Is that gone now?
Yeah, there is still a chain link fence behind where the bottling works was.
No, right. I'm talking about.
But there was
right off to the right of the house.
That's gone. Yeah.
Okay.
But that was the same distance as that lined up with the chain link that went behind the site of the bottling works. So you'd want to move it back a little further.
I think. With it being the size that it is, as you're coming by, you're still going to see the sign. It just won't, if you're on the street, the sign's going to sit here, the house is going to sit here, so you're still going to block it somewhat. If it's back just a little bit, when you look over, you'll see it right to the side of the house.
the one thing about that, if you go back that far, I think we could move it back farther. Maybe we could try some different things and show you some different pictures, see how it looks.
Yeah.
If we play around with mocking something up. The one thing I'd be concerned about is if we went back as far as where the chain link was, you could see it when you are coming up Gabbery or get right in front of it, but when you are going east on Gabbery, it would definitely be obscured.
What about bringing it up then flush with the front of the house?
That would probably work. I think we could.
It's also a temporary placement,
Well,
so
and
we.
I'm assuming that your picket fence that's probably where it was gonna go also, right? Right there flush with the front of the house? Or was it?
When we do the new fence, it's going to be roughly where it would have been historically, which would be, I'd have to figure it out, but we're talking a little ways, 6 to 8 feet in front of the house.
Okay,
But we'd be shooting for where, as best we could determine, where the fence had originally
sure,
been.
sure, yeah. Okay, I mean, I'd approve it if you could move it back to flush with the front of the house, if that's okay.
I think they'd be willing to consider that.
I'd make a motion to approve it with the only change being the house, or the sign being flush with the front of the house.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the certificate for the installation of the temporary sign with the amendment of moving it back farther to be flush with the front of the house. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Okay,
Great, thanks,
Thank
John.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to administrative approvals.
So I brought to the commission, there are 4 administrative approvals there that were done between last meeting and now. If anybody has any questions about those or discussion topics, we'll be more than glad to take them.
On this, the fence, I drove by there, so they hit this one here.
Yes.
So they have part of a fence back there still? Or somebody had started putting it,
Yeah, somebody started putting it.
They never finished it?
They never did that, and that wasn't them, so.
no, it
yeah.
was before that.
Yeah,
Right.
and they're making all that go away and going with what I
What was
approved
there.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you guys got any more
Oh,
questions
not on
about
that,
those.
not on that one.
Okay. I mean, they're.
Do we have any other questions? I was actually reading through all of mine and jotting down notes.
Oh, sorry.
On the,
You're good.
The one up on 3073 South 4th Street,
Yes,
they had 2 different sightings?
they did.
Did they really?
Yeah, and actually.
I probably drive by them.
And in the photo, you can see a little bit, maybe not this photo, because blow it up, they're kind of hard to get on here, but, well, you can see a little bit, some of it up at the very top.
Okay. I
That,
didn't
where
notice
it
that.
started changing color, and there's some more in the back that you can see
Got it.
if I had a blown up picture of it on here.
Yeah, because I drove by there earlier.
But yeah, they did have, it shocked me when they're like, really? And they're like,
Okay,
yeah,
I actually thought it was aluminum,
yeah,
the
yeah.
way it's,
I agree 100%. And again, they wanna, it includes the garage in the back as well, so.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Do we have any other business?
I have none.
Any public comments?
We're good to go.
Okay. So we are to adjournment.
Motion adjourned.
Emergency. Second, you move. I second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?